Do you both think that the defensive secondary issues in 2020 were the perfect storm of you lose all that NFL talent, top-end NFL talent, you suffer a key defection, because of legal issues, Amir Reep in particular, during the offseason. You have off-season injuries, even for Cam Brown's able to hit the field in particular. Then you have in-season injuries that hit that group as well. Can 2020 be dismissed to a certain extent in the secondary, Steve?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, we saw things that we don't generally see out of Ohio State. We saw teams that were able to throw the ball at will. I think some of that was a lack of a consistent pass rush. And I know the numbers may not have looked quite as off in terms of sacks as what maybe they normally do per game. They were, close. But it just was the impression for me that opposing quarterbacks were able to stand back there and pick them apart at times. And, they beat up Trevor Lawrence pretty good, but he also threw for 400 yards. Now, granted, they stopped running the football altogether. Indiana stopped running the football altogether. And why would you run the football when you can throw it for 10, 12 yards on every play? So it was kind of a hand in glove type thing that, one thing wasn't working. Why bother even trying it anymore? So I don't know. Again, we can sit here and take the defense apart, and it's so complex these days with everything that happens. You watch a game, and the offenses go to the line of scrimmage at 25 seconds on the play clock, and then they stand there and they look to the sideline for 15 seconds until the play caller gets it in his mind, the exact look he wants from the defense, and then they activate, and it's crazy to try and defend something like that. Are they two steps ahead of you with what they've come up with? I mean, I don't know. So it is so sophisticated and so complex that you can't make a value judgment and say, oh, the corners suck. I mean, there's just no one size fits all. The scheme sucks sometimes. The corners suck sometimes. The execution sucks sometimes. I mean, I'm just trying to bring this down to the lowest level that people understand that there is no one size fits all explanation for why they didn't do very well this past year. And again, I think some of it begins with not a consistent pass rush up front that was impacting the quarterback and making life difficult. Alabama made life difficult on Justin Fields to a degree in the championship game, or at least he thought they were, because he did not play his usual game against Alabama. And that's an example to me where the front has to dictate some things to the offense. Ohio State's front typically didn't dictate a whole lot to the opposing offense, and that left the corners and the safeties on an island to get exploited a little bit. So we can say what we want, but until you put on that all 20 film and know what was called and know what they countered with and know what was countered with that, and then he slid over here and then he slid there, and Alabama just did a fabulous job when you watch it on tape, just putting guys in motion and creating mismatches, and just just had too much scheme and too many athletes for Ohio State to contend with it.
Hey, a fresh new topic for you. What's that, Kevin?
I said, hey, welcome, Gerd.
Yes, we got to catch the slacker up to our topics here. We've uncovered a fresh new topic for you, Tony. Secondary issues.
Yes. When I asked Ryan Day about that, because to me, that was the entire story of the Alabama game. They just didn't trust enough guys, and he pretty much admitted that they had to go with the guys they trusted, and they didn't have enough time during the season, enough games to get Ryan Watts and Cameron Martinez and Ledson Cavazos up to speed. Cavazos had been injured for so much of the season anyway. Lathan Ransom, they probably would have gotten him even quicker up to speed if they would have had more games, and he came along late. I just think it was a bad year all around in terms of development. And so to expect too much or to put too much, like I'm not ready to damn Kerry Combs for the season because I don't think anybody was going to do much better just because of the losses, the personnel losses, Marcus Hooker at the end, Cameron Brown, losing guys in the recruiting, Taylor Johnson not recruiting when he was at Ohio State. It was a perfect storm of situations that led to them not having nearly enough guys in the secondary, and also some development issues as well. Because Josh Proctor, when he like his freshman year, Damon Arnett was talking about how he reminds him of Marcus Hooker. We never ever saw that. Josh Proctor has never become that guy. Not that he could become the greatest safety in Ohio State history, but he's not even been to the point where he can be the deep safety for the Buckeyes. And so there's development. There's all kinds of issues that Kerry Combs wasn't going to fix in 1 year. And then also not being able to fix everything. I also don't think he is the reason everything was bad. However, we'll find out a whole lot more this year. And Kerry Combs could be an issue this year, or Matt Barnes could be an issue, or because I don't think personnel becomes the problem in 2021 as much as it was in 2020.
I'll just clean up with what everybody else said and say that I kind of agree. I think in some ways that there may have been just some characters who were miscast. I mean, I understand the reason you get Sean Wade back is to move him outside. He was so much better at slot corner, but the problem is you lose Cameron Brown early on, and to kind of go off of what Tony said, there was nobody with sophomore eligibility. I mean, you had 3 freshmen on there, you had 2 seniors and 2 juniors. I mean, there was just this gigantic bubble, and that's one of the biggest things when it comes to recruiting. Everybody wants to go out big game hunting, star hunting. You have to make sure that you fill numbers every single year and you insulate yourself from having these types of situations because you have an injured Legend Cavazos. You have Cameron Martinez who's making a move over from offense to defense. You have Watts. I mean, but they're guys who are very short on experience or unable to get experience based on one reason or another. And then you got to dance with the date that brought you. And Ohio State was dealing with 4 guys and then suddenly was dealing with 3 guys to fill 3 spots because they suddenly weren't going to change to running a 2 safety look on a significant basis. So they were they kind of had to play with the cards that they were dealt. And I think it was the perfect storm of just unfortunate circumstances that led to some of the issues. But I also think that it's going to be, the microscope is going to be on the highest magnification that it can be on at this point. If Ohio State has another subpar pass defense, I don't see things being business as usual come 2022, no matter how good the offense is. And even if the offense is able to carry this team to a 5th Big Ten championship back into the playoff and see where things fall after that